Hey, what's up? Last Layer King here. Today I'm going to go over some more tricks you can do with Advanced Weak Swap. If you don't know what Advanced Weak Swap is, go check out my prior videos, but let's get right into it. So when you're solving and you're using Advanced Weak Swap and you happen to have an odd target in memo, then if you happen to weak swap any pieces, what you would do is for your last comm, you would shoot to your odd target and then undo the most recent weak swap target that you memoed. So if you did double weak swap on like UL and UF and you got an odd target, then your last target would be UF to give you a UB-UL swap. In this case here, we have weak swapped the buffer piece to UL and we've only done one weak swap. And then in this case here, we have buffer to this piece here. And because this is the UL piece and we've weak swapped to UL, we're basically treating this piece as the buffer. So we have an odd target. So normally we would just cycle buffer to here to here. And this would solve our edges. However, there may be some cases where instead of undoing a weak swap, you can add a weak swap by shooting this piece to a different location. So in this case here, we can cycle buffer to here to UF. And this will give us our double weak swap cycle that I've gone over in prior videos. So this is significant because if we were to solve edges, we would get a pure 2 twist. And then in this case here, we get a 3 cycle plus twist. And the algorithms for the pure 2 twist and the 3 cycle plus twist are about equal in speed. But the difference in speed comes in the edge comm. If we were to solve edges, we have to do buffer to here, which is an 8 mover. And if we were to make a double weak swap by cycling to UF, it would be a 4 mover, buffer to here. So we can save 4 moves by setting up the double weak swap instead of just solving our edges. Here is an example of when this could be useful. So for edges, we've got buffer to here to here. We're weak swapping this piece to UL because we hit the buffer. So this is going to go to here, which goes to here, which goes to here, which goes to here, and this is going back to UL. So I'd remember this as an odd target. So now solving it, we had buffer to here, and then we had to here, and then we had to here, and now we've got our odd target. And because we have a twist, I'm actually going to cycle buffer to here to UF instead of to UL. If I wanted to go to UL, the comm is going to be 10 moves, but if I wanted to cycle it to UF, the comm is just a 4 mover. And then instead of getting a pure 2 twist, I have a 3 cycle plus twist. Note that this is only going to be useful if you have a twisted corner, because if all of your corners are solved, you would obviously rather have solved edges and a solved cube than setting up a U-perm. So there may be some scenarios where you would want to set up a double weak swap on UR instead of solving your edges. So here we've got our buffer piece weak swapped in UL and then our odd targets here. So if we were to cycle here to here, we have this 9 mover and we get a pure 2 twist. But if we were to cycle here to here, it's just an 8 mover and it's a little bit faster. I personally wouldn't do this in a solve because it's only going to save 1 move, but this may be a very slight time save if you're really good at doing the 3 cycle plus twist and can do it as fast as the 2 twist. With the UR target, the same idea can work with parity. So here we've got a double weak swap instead of just a single weak swap. We have our buffer piece in UL and the UL piece in UF. And then we have buffer to here, which is an odd target. So we can undo the odd target by cycling buffer to here. And this gives us a regular parity alg. But another option is to set up triple weak swap by cycling buffer to here, which is going to be a better comm. And then instead of getting a regular parity alg, we get O-perm parity. Another scenario you might come across in a blind solve is that even if you don't do weak swap, you may be able to do a fancy weak swap alg. So here's an example of where this could be useful. So we've got buffer to here, which goes to here, which goes to here, and then we're done. Now one of the comms was going to be here to here, and this is actually exactly the weak swap we would try to set up for the end of edges, but we just happen to have it in the middle of edges. So if we do buffer to here to solve our first two edges, we now have buffer to here. But instead of doing just a regular U-perm to solve this, we can do a 3 cycle plus twist to solve this corner at the same time. And then we can just finish edges like this. So this is one of the reasons why if you're solving corners first and you have a twisted corner, I recommend keeping the twisted corner on the cube till the very end of the solve, because even if you didn't do an advanced weak swap setup, you may be able to still do an advanced weak swap alg if you happen to have the right cycle in the middle of your edge memo. Note that this trick of doing a 3 cycle plus something else alg in the middle of edges is not going to work for 3 cycle plus flip, because you're going to end up flipping your buffer and then it's going to mess up some of the later pieces on the cube. So this will only work for 3 cycle plus twist. The remaining tricks I'm going to go over in this video are going to be ones that are specific to those who use UB and UBL as their buffers rather than UF and UFR. The technique will still apply to UF and UFR buffers, but the way to do it is a bit different and might not be as ergonomic as doing it with UB and UBL buffers. So this case here, we have a 3 cycle and a twist, and our 3 cycle is buffer to here to here. So one of the 3 cycles I went over in double weak swap was UB to UR to UL. However, if our edge is somewhere else on the right face where we can just do an R move setup, then all of these cases can be solved with just an R move setup into some other alg. So here we've got a 3 cycle plus twist, and conveniently the twisted corner is on the left side of the cube, where the R move setup isn't going to affect anything. So we can just do an R move setup into the 3 cycle plus twist alg. So given these R move setups, it may be worth considering doing weak swap on pieces like BR or FR if you cannot do double weak swap on UR. And the same sort of technique goes with triple weak swap. So if you've weak swapped to UL, you've double weak swapped to UF, and now you want to do triple weak swap, you could theoretically do the triple weak swap on FR or BR, and then you'll be able to do an R move setup into something. So here we've got our buffer piece weak swapped to UL, we've got UL weak swapped in UF, and our third to last target is BR. If this target here was on UR, it would just be an O-perm parity case. But if with it on BR, we can just do an R move setup into an O-perm parity. Note that the corner target here is on the right side of the cube though. So when we do our setup, we'll have to track where this corner goes. But then once we do it, we can just do whatever O-perm parity alg we get, which is going to be this one. And we get to cancel a move. So doing these two targets is going to be super advanced if you haven't actually learned specific algorithms for them because of corner targets on the right face moving around. But with some practice, I can see this being very effective at saving an algorithm, even if you can't do your triple weak swap or double weak swap on UR. In the case that you're using UF and UFR as your buffers, you would generally do your weak swap on UR, and then you'll double weak swap either to UB or UL. And what's going to happen is, instead of having an R move set up into something, if you were to do your double weak swap somewhere else like here or here, it would be an L move setup. So if you were to have some 3 cycle plus twist case where it's buffer to here, it would be an L move setup into whatever 3 cycle plus twist you use for this twist on this cycle. So the same concept applies, and if you're good at lefty turning, or if you're left-handed, this could be very useful. So I'm going to go over another very specific case that might happen. So say you've set up a double weak swap with buffer to here, and then you have 2 twisted corners on the cube. You have this piece twisted and one other corner twisted. So this corner could be twisted in one of 2 ways, and the other corner could be twisted in one of 2 ways, and can be anywhere else on the cube. It might sound like there's a lot of cases in that sort of subset, but because everything else is on this part of the cube, these 6 pieces, we can freely turn the right face and bottom face as setup moves. And there's really only 4 cases just based on how the corners are oriented. The idea being, if you know like an algorithm where the second twist is like here, then if you have the second twist somewhere else, you can just do a setup move. So here's an example of this. We have buffer to UF to UL. We have this piece twisted counterclockwise, and then we have another corner twisted counterclockwise. And then the buffer also happens to be twisted because these two corners aren't twisted opposite directions. So if we know an algorithm that can solve this case, then we can easily come up with an algorithm that can solve any case where this twist happens to be somewhere else on the cube. And the algorithm for this case is going to be U2 Sune. So this is obviously a really good case, and it's the main reason I've even considered learning algorithms based on having this weak swap here and the UFL corner twisted. So now if we have the same case with the same weak swap, but the twist is here instead of here, we can just do an R prime, and that's just a setup move into U2 Sune. And we'll cancel a move at the end, and we end up just doing an anti-Sune from the back. If the corner happens to be on the bottom somewhere, we just move it up to the top, and then U2 Sune, canceling a move. And if the corner happens to be on the bottom left, then we can just do DR into the alg, so it'll be DR U2 Sune, and then we finish like this. So this case here I call good Sune because it's literally just a Sune with a U2 at the start. I'm going to now go over the other three ways that the corners could be oriented. So this case here is going to have the same double weak swap cycle as the previous case, except we'll find that both corners here are now twisted clockwise instead of counterclockwise. So I call this case bad Sune, and the algorithm for it goes like this. So note here that the second twist is in UBR instead of UFR, but just like for good Sune, if you have the twist somewhere else, like here, 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 you'll just do D or R move setups to move it here and then do the alg. So for this case, once again, same double weak swap edge cycle, but here this corner is twisted counterclockwise and the other corner is twisted clockwise. So the algorithm for this case would be U back anti-Sune, U prime anti-Sune. In this case I call bad L, so here we have the UFL piece twisted clockwise and the other corner twisted counterclockwise. So the algorithm for this will go like this. I personally don't use any of those other UFL twist algorithms except for good Sune. I had learned the other cases, but I sort of forgot them because I just don't use them in solves. Good Sune is really going to be the one you want to know. The others are just kind of extras. So for this case, once again, if your buffers are UF and UFR, you'll find that your double weak swap would be on this side. You'll be considering cases where this corner is twisted instead of this corner, and then your other twist will be somewhere else. And then for the good Sune case, you'll end up doing a lefty Sune instead of a righty Sune. So if you're good with lefty turning, that could be really useful. If you're not, it still might be useful to know. But if you aren't that good at lefty turning, then definitely the other three cases aren't going to be worth learning. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something new from it, and I will catch you in the next video.